Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Let me be very clear about this point. This was an act of terrorism. It was premeditated and an evil act. This was obviously a critical incident, and with that, lots of information and tips come pouring in from law enforcement, first responders, and the public. We have been aggressively running down these tips and information. As you all know, that takes time, and we will continue to do so until every lead has been followed through on. This investigation is only a little more than 24 hours old. So I ask you to keep in mind that as I go through some of the specifics later. But at this point, currently, and this is another fact I want to be clear on, we do not assess at this point that anyone else involved in this attack except for Shamsuddin Jabbar, the subject you've already been briefed on.
Good evening. I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life. With the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I brilliantly market your property to make sure it gets sold as quickly as possible or gets leased as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to take every ounce of energy and put it into negotiating for you and for your property to get the best deal that you can possibly get for it. So once we get to the closing table, all the I's are going to be dotted, all the T's are going to be crossed, everything's going to go off without a hitch, and that is my word that I'm giving to you as your real estate agent.
All right, everyone, welcome back. And not the greatest start to the year for some people, specifically in New Orleans. We had a terrorist attack. It's being called that by the FBI, as well as other officials, as 10 people lost their lives after a man drove his vehicle through the crowd of people. You know the rest. We've been seeing this time and time again, and it is not a good situation. Now, you know me. I look for connections everywhere. Take a look at what also happened last night at the Capitol building, the Empire State Building, and also the Washington Monument. All three were struck by lightning in a short period of time on New Year's Eve, right before this truck. Now hear me out. Right before this truck slammed into these people, these lightning strikes took place, and then later on we got pictures of this guy's truck, and you're not going to believe what this thing is. This is one of those Ford 150 Pro Lightning models. The word lightning is right there. Now I don't know how many of you are in that spiritual type lifestyle where you believe that a lot of things around us are spiritual. You know, those things we can't see going on. And if you have that, you also have demonic forces. And I very much believe that those exist in many ways. So I want you to think about this for a second. Imagine these three major buildings all being struck by lightning in the same night, New Year's Eve of 2024, about to bring in the new year of 2025, while a truck, a terrorist attack, takes place in New Orleans via a white Ford Lightning pickup truck. Now, my friends, I don't know what else to tell you about this. Something somewhere was trying to let us know that something bad was going to happen. That's the only thing I can think of that makes sense in this situation. There was some godly force going on, either trying to warn us or preparing us for the fact that we were going to lose a lot of people as we bring in 2025. Now, I would love to hear what you guys think about this. This is a devastating situation, and I can't imagine what these families are going through on the first day of 2025, out celebrating, having a good time, only for something like this to take place. I mean, you really need to think about this. What are the chances that all three of these buildings get hit by lightning on the same night, New Year's Eve of 2024, that this terrorist, this murdering cold-blooded person driving a white F-150 Ford Lightning model truck, decides to run down people in New Orleans and then get into a shootout with cops, and now he's gone and so are all these innocent people. It's just disgusting, my friends, and I hope this is not some sort of omen onto what to expect in this year. I'm going to keep this one a little short. I want you guys to digest the day. There's a lot of news going going on, and I'm sure it's only just beginning, but this is a big deal. Please tell me your thoughts down below. Let me know what you're seeing here, and my friends, please be safe. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll be back with plenty more updates. We got a lot to talk about. All right, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Bro, shout outs to Into Thin Air. The odds of that happening is like, I didn't realize that was the name of the truck. I thought the lightning strikes were just coincidence at first.
And he posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS. In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote. Additionally, he stated he had joined ISIS before this summer. He also provided a will and testament.
Wait, so now I'm hearing that this guy who mowed down a bunch of people on Bourbon Street with his vehicle, his Facebook page was loaded with posts all about ISIS, all about wanting to his own family, and he didn't so much as get an account suspension. I've got friends posting screenshots on a weekly basis. Your account has been suspended yet again for dirty jokes, anything pro-Trump. This guy actually can post, I support ISIS. Not a knock on the door, not an account suspension. Post, I support Trump. This account suspended. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong at all. Shout out to Vinny Penn. We've seen plenty of content creators get banned. We've seen them come and go. How was his account able to survive?
Boy, when I tell you 2025 is going to be year of the PSYOPs, believe me. So there was a horrific attack on Bourbon Street in New Orleans on New Year's where this car plowed into a crowd of people, got out and start firing at police. The suspect is Shamsuddin Japour, which is a 42-year-old real estate agent from Beaumont, Texas. Now, in this marketing video, he states that he's born and raised in Texas, lives in Houston, but there's a few things odd right off the bat that I found.
Born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist.
Why does this video feel like a setup? Because he's giving vital information about his background instead of talking about real estate. Mind you, this is the only video he's posted on his YouTube back in 2020, then completely fell off. Then his real estate license actually expires in 2023 and he doesn't renew it. So this screams sleeper cell to me. Going back to the truck, so that flag that's covered up is an ISIS flag, and allegedly that's who he has allegiance to. Now here where it starts to get really weird. Ford's X account got hacked a few days ago saying all eyes on Gaza, Israel is a terrorist state, free Palestine, and Ford even made a statement saying their account was compromised and they did not make those posts. Then you have an attack with a Ford F-150 Lightning with an ISIS flag. What are the chances? And who could have hacked that Ford X account? Oh, I don't know, maybe a military IT specialist? But it doesn't stop there. This actual car was at the scene of another attack. Can anybody tell me why that same truck was in front of this Cybertruck that blew up in front of Trump Towers in Las Vegas? You can't make this shit up. Now this Cybertruck pulled up, parked, and then exploded with the driver inside. Now, obviously, they are sending a message to Elon and Trump. And who would willingly pull up just to unalive themselves like this? Sleeper cell. And I find this pretty odd that Elon reposts this on his X account saying this Cybertruck looks like the future. This was a response to this post saying this Cybertruck is on fire and this literally looks like the Cybertruck is exploding. And it doesn't stop there. So you guys, on New Year's, the Empire State Building, the Washington Monument, and the U.S. Capitol get struck by lightning. You mean the same name, this truck, lightning, struck people in New Orleans. Got it. Also, they said that this truck was sitting on a dealership lot on December 14th, then got bought, then got put on Turo, which then he rented. Not to mention that Cybertruck that was in front of Trump Tower was also rented on Turo. Then the Airbnb he rents actually catches on fire and dozens of people had to evacuate. How convenient. Wait, hold up. This is happening in the same city where the Super Bowl is happening this year, February 9th. Didn't the Super Bowl happen last year in Las Vegas on February 11th? So you have two attacks on the same day in both of these cities. And look at the dates. 9/11. Oh, they love their symbolism. Now, since then, the governor declared a state of emergency in New Orleans and even postponed the Sugar Bowl. Now, the question is, are we really under attack? Because the FBI just found 150 homemade bombs in a Virginia home, which is one of the largest seizures they've ever had. Either way, I would keep my head on a swivel, especially if you're in a major city, because it seems like somebody's sending a message. I'll keep you guys updated on any developments, but let me know what you think about this down below.
I think you're definitely onto something, Mav. Shout out to Mav Approach. Just like Into Thin Air said, what's the odds of the lightning strikes and the lightning Ford truck being used on top of Ford truck being in front of the Cybertruck before that blew up? This just became a rabbit hole.
I don't want to hear from anybody in the federal government that they don't have the resources. Now, the White House, the FBI, Justice, Homeland Security are in charge now. We're cooperating with them. I want to give them a reasonable period of time. There's a lot of information out there. Some of it is actually true. I want to give them a reasonable period of time, but they need to saddle up and ride. We need to find out what happened here, and it's not going to be covered up. We're going to tell the American people exactly what happened. I'm not interested in placing blame or saying who was right or wrong. I just want to catch these sons of bitches who did this.
Yo, this dude was in my unit. For the ones that follow me know that I'm an Army veteran. In my time in service, I did 4 years at Fort Richardson, Alaska. During my 4 years there as a combat medic, we did 2 deployments to Afghanistan. In 2009 to 2010, and 2010 to 2011. We conducted missions in both Paktika and Paktia province. This here's a picture of me in 2009. This here's my comeback medic badge, and this is my comeback action badge, both that were awarded to me during my deployment. But why am I bringing all this up? I woke up this morning, and the first thing I see on the news is this tragic event that took place in New Orleans this morning, where a man drove his truck through a crowd of people, unaliving 10 people, seriously injuring 30 other people, including 2 police officers. As I'm covering the story, reports are saying that the man was in military-style gear, had an ISIS flag, an AK-47 style weapon was found in his vicinity. Then the story develops that they found an improvised explosive device on the scene and also a few other suspected improvised explosive devices near the area. But then as I'm gathering more information, I learned the identity of the suspect as being a 42-year-old resident of Texas. And then they release his name as Shamuddin Jabbar. And then they release his picture here. And then I find this video.
I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me.
And as I'm watching that video, I hear this man's voice and it clicks. We were stationed together. We were at the same duty station together. We deployed together. When I tell you that I am completely mind blown, like if you would have met this guy back in the day when I knew him, he was just, this is crazy. Like I'm at a loss for words. Like I'm really at a loss for words right now. Like you think you know people. I've reached out to some of my battle buddies from that unit. I'm trying to get some more information on the guy, and I'll try to keep you guys updated. If you would, like, follow, and share, leave a comment, stay engaged. I'll give you the updates as we go along. Y'all have a great day.
Shout out to Dude in the Jeep, Iggy 6. They were in the same unit together. My condolences to the families of the victims. Our prayers are with those who are injured. Pray for these soldiers as well.
She is actually correct. His name was Shamsuddin Jabbar, and he actually grew up in Texas. Not only that, but come to find out, he actually spent 10 years in the U.S. Army. That being as a human resources specialist and an IT specialist as well. But something about this just doesn't add up. I mean, eventually he became a real estate agent. And as far as I can tell, he seemed like a completely normal individual. Until you notice the kind of flag that he chose to put on his truck while doing this. That's the part that's throwing me off a little bit, and the fact that there was explosive devices that were found inside of the vehicle. Not only that, but officials are also claiming that they found IEDs in the French Quarter as well. And the FBI is now saying that it doesn't think that the driver was solely responsible. Now, like I said earlier, this man was not from New Orleans or Louisiana. So why and how did he mark out that specific path to go into such a busy location? A location where the Sugar Bowl is also supposed to be taking place as well. And if officials are claiming that they located IEDs in the French Quarter, who's to say they're not elsewhere? And honestly, I'm glad that they chose to postpone the game. There's just something about this situation, and it really fucking sucks, man, because I lost a good friend in this incident. And I'm just curious what would cause what seems to be such a normal individual to do something like this. I probably already know the answer, but that's not necessarily something that you can mention on this app. But the fact that it happened on the morning of the first day of the new year just really fucking sucks. My condolences go out to every single family member that was affected by this unfortunate incident. Which, by the way, I really appreciate everybody giving their prayers out to Jeremy's mom. He was one of the individuals, a good friend of mine, that unfortunately lost his life this morning around 3 a.m. And I'm definitely going to be following up on this incident as much as I possibly can, because it just doesn't seem like there's an actual reason as to why this man would actually do this. And if anything, it just makes people not want to go to New Orleans even more. I'm originally from the South. I've been down here on numerous occasions throughout my life, including during Katrina. And I've witnessed New Orleans literally grow into something great just to revert back to its old ways. I've seen the people suffer there. I've seen the thousands of homeless people that live underneath those bridges. But I've also witnessed hope just dwindle away in all of these people's lives, to the point of where so many people in that city just don't want other people to experience happiness. I mean, it's difficult to even feel safe going to a concert in New Orleans now. There's just an eeriness about it. And I know a lot of other individuals feel the same exact way. It just really sucks, man, because this hits so damn close to home.
My condolences to the families of Jeremy and all the victims from this tragedy. I totally agree with him. Something just isn't right. It's just not sitting well.
FBI agents and Harris County Sheriff's deputies are currently investigating the suspected attacker's ties right here in the Houston community. And we were there when law enforcement officers arrived at a location near Hugh Road and Crescent Peak Drive in North Harris County.
Over this scene since law enforcement has been out here, and we captured the moment that someone came out of one of the homes on the property where Jabbar lived with their hands up. Now, we don't know their ties to this, if they had any ties to it, if they just so happened to live on the same piece of property, because we do know there are two homes on that property, but we hope to learn more of those answers soon. It was right about 3 o'clock that a large law enforcement presence descended on this area, Crescent Peak Drive. I was able to speak with someone who's familiar with his living situation, and I'm told that he told them he was moving to New Orleans for work. He told that person about a month ago, and then I'm told that he actually moved out of his home here in North Harris County on Monday.
As a retired federal agent, I have learned over the years not to jump to conclusions. That does no one any good, and more often than not, you look like a wingnut. But anyway, Bongino goes by that rule of thumb too. He says he'd rather be right than first, and I think that's great. I think he's super smart about that. Of course, I think Dan's smart about a lot of stuff. But I do want to talk for a second about the two events that happened earlier today. One happened in the wee morning hours of this morning down in Louisiana, and then a couple hours later, something else happened over in Nevada. I've been paid for a long time to worry and see the glass half empty. I wish I was more of a glass half full guy, but I've been doing a lot of research on my own. I've been listening to Sarah Adams. I know I've mentioned her already. If you don't know who Sarah Adams is, do yourself a favor and look this woman up. She is a wealth of knowledge, and what she's talking about is here.
Retired federal agent Scott Bryson, BTS. Shout outs to you. Been hearing his name, Sarah Adams, a lot in the past 48 hours. I think this is confirmation that I need to head over and see what she's talking about right now.
If I remember correctly, Scott told me that Al-Qaeda is basically predicting that the casualty count will be between 50 and 60,000 Americans dead. Am I wrong on that?
So I don't know the count that they're predicting. What I do know is Al-Qaeda trained and sent 1,000 attackers.
1,000 attackers. When did they come through?
So they finished training and they deployed them. Now, depending on how they come through, it could take different times, right? So the fastest I've seen an Afghan leave Afghanistan and get over the border illegally is about 3 weeks. Now, if you get a tourist visa and a Saudi's passport, he can fly the day after he gets his visa, right? So it depends, because they are fine getting people in however they can get them in, and they actually prefer legal immigration, as you can imagine, because they want basically the attackers to sit here and wait. If they're legal, they're not going to raise any alarm bells.
So wait a minute. I just want to clarify. You are 100% certain that there are 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters within the United States borders?
Well, Al-Qaeda says they trained and deployed 1,000 for this attack. First off, I think there's more than 1,000 Al-Qaeda members in the United States. But for the Homeland attack, that number is based on what Al-Qaeda is saying, so they could exaggerate it. However, they did have about 1,400 in the Hamas attack, so the number is not off from what they did in the first round of attacks.
Is there any indication of what kind of attacks these are going to be? Well, actually, before we get into that, how old is this information?
I mean, it's ongoing. So the training's already done, right? So all the training info is now old because they trained all the Homeland attackers, if that makes sense. So like next week, you're not going to get info of a Homeland attacker probably at a terrorist camp because it's already done. So all this has been in the last year.
So it's been over a year. It's been a year.
Because this was a continuation, so they planned October 7th first, and then they rolled into planning this after.
Are we next, or is Europe next?
I think the embassy attacks are next, in my opinion.
What are they waiting for the embassies?
I don't think they're waiting. I think it took time to train them. They've now approved them, and they've now moved into the operational stage.
What about the U.S.?
So the U.S., from what we've seen, I told you about the camps, right? That there's the advanced urban warfare. So we think it's going to look like October 7th, but it's actually based on, and October 7th was probably also based on it. It's based on the Mumbai attacks that occurred 15 years ago in Delhi, India. And we believe this for multiple reasons.
What happened there? Before we dig into that.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think it was my first episode. It was basically a terrorist group, Lashkar-e-Taiba. They did a number, it's called swarming attacks. They did a number of attacks in New Delhi, at a hotel, the Taj Mahal, I believe it was called, at like basically the train station, etc. The interesting thing about it, and this is why they're going to employ it now, is those terrorists were given kind of like latitude. One, they could change the location they were attacking, and they could change the modus operandi they were using. So for example, when they went into the train station, it was supposed to be a bombing. When they got in there, they said, wow, we can kill more people just shooting them than putting the bomb together, and they shot them. Another thing that they did is in real time, information was being passed to them. So when they were in the Taj Mahal, they were being told what was on the press and what the police were doing, and they changed basically some of their movements in the hotel to make the attack last longer, okay? So this is the part that's going to be different, right? So Al-Qaeda always wants to innovate when it does its next attack, right? So I've already told you about the innovation of the suicide vests. Well, do you know we really haven't had a suicide bombing in the United States ever? There's the Nashville guy who did the strange, blew himself up in the car early in the morning when no one was around. That's kind of it.
The AT&T building?
Yep. So we have not had a man walk up to a building with a suicide vest on in the United States. Americans don't understand this. Al-Qaeda knows this, right? So this is new and innovative, especially now. You don't have to walk upside of the building. You can walk in the building because of the advancement of the vest. The other thing is, in the United States, we haven't had Fideian attackers. Do you know what this is? I mean, you'll know when I explain it. If you fought in, like, I don't know, Ramadi, Fallujah, you've seen these. So the concept is the terrorist fights to the death. So he's not exactly a suicide bomber, but he will fight till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead, right? So this can go on for multiple days, like the plan was for Mumbai, for example. So we think it's going to be a swarming attack, right? Multiple different attacks at one time across multiple cities. We think there will be suicide bombers just because some of the attackers went through suicide bomber training and they have these vests, right? And then we think there's these Fideian attackers who will carry on until they're killed.
Shout out to Sarah Adams, former CIA, breaking it down. This is very interesting, I must agree. Shout out to Sean Ryan. It seems this interview was fairly recent. After what happened on New Year's, I'm all ears. I really feel it's time to pay attention, more than ever.
Here's what we know so far. The FBI has reported to me the killer was an American citizen, born in Texas. He served in the United States Army on active duty for many years. He also served in the Army Reserve until a few years ago. The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possible explosives were found in the vehicle as well, and more explosives were found nearby. The situation is very fluid, and the investigation has a preliminary stage.
Start recording. Oh my God.
From the Window World Traffic Center, quality windows, happy customers.
Congestion is now westbound due to an accident in the right lane at Reed Boulevard, delays back to Bullard. We also had a be careful, they got down power lines and east between Crowder and start recording. Oh my God.
From the Window World Traffic Center, quality windows, happy customers.
Congestion is now westbound due to an accident in the right lane at Reed Boulevard, delays back to Bullard. We also had a be careful, they got down power lines and east between Crowder and
Yo, what's going on in New Orleans, y'all? Check this out. So while everyone was sleeping, we had buildings collapsing in New Orleans, y'all. Look at this. What is going on over here, y'all? Look at this. Oh, that car almost got crushed, y'all. He had to run the red light to save his life. But what is going on, y'all? That's not the only thing that happened. Apparently, there was a truck that ran into a couple of crowds and unalived 10 people and over 30 people are injured right now, y'all. This all took place last night.
About 3 or 4 hours ago, there was reportedly this vehicle, what has been described as a truck of some kind, that plowed through a crowd of people in New Orleans in the French Quarter District. As you were mentioning, this is a big area where there are bars, there are nightclubs, there are people milling about. This was New Year's Eve or on the back end of New Year's Eve.
So I was also doing a little bit more research. And it turns out this is the 4th or 5th building that has collapsed this year in New Orleans, y'all. Did you know about this? What is going on?
Okay, so New Orleans, yesterday we had yet another building collapse. I think that makes it maybe 4 or 5 this year. The one on Aretha Castle Haley during the summer. And then I want to say a few weeks ago, we had a partial building collapse downtown in the Central Business District. And then Cafe du Monde in the French Quarter, their roof partially collapsed also a few weeks ago. And yesterday in Magazine Street, this happened.
Wow, I had no idea all of this was happening, y'all. Did you guys know? I feel like a lot of information is being held from us. There's a lot of videos that should go viral that aren't going viral and the people are not getting notified. But this is very, very interesting. What is going on in New Orleans, y'all? Please let me know down in the comments below. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Let's continue to get this shit. Peace out.
Okay, I'm seeing all this stuff about the fog and the air filters. My whole family's sick right now. And we have like a really, really good, furnace filter. We live in Michigan. It's been extremely foggy and rainy all the time, every day. So I figured I'll come downstairs and check out my air filter because I change this once a month. Once a month. I have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 toddlers, and then 2 adults. We have a lot going on here. So I never let this go too long without being changed. Sorry. I also have, a humidity control. So anyway, I'm going to check my filter and see what it looks like. So we have these humongous, honkin' massive ones. Oh my gosh. That is bad. It's never this dark. Oh my gosh. That is bad. That is really bad. I have never seen it this bad. After just a month. Are you kidding me? So this is what we use. These things are like heavy duty. Really, really good. So I'm going to open a brand new one and show you how dirty the other one was. And that's only from a month. Okay, here's our brand new air filter. Look at that. That is way more buildup than we normally have in such a short span of time. So yeah, that's a bit concerning to me. I don't think I can get this in with one hand. Hang on. All right, well, we're getting the new one in. Maybe I'll check this in like a week and see how it's looking, because that was really bad.
Yo, that was creepy, because in the last video, we seen another lady do the same exact thing, and the filter looked exactly the same. What is going on? This doesn't make sense. 2 separate occasions, filter looks like charcoal. That just gave me a weird vibe. That's
11, right? So the capital matters. I feel like bridges or any kind of public transportation always matters because it puts costs against us and it causes fear. But here's where it gets complicated. So remember, the terrorists might have their goal is they're going to attack the metro in DC, right? But remember, some of these terrorists are going to be ISIS. And remember, they can change locations. So the ISIS guy might go down the metro and say, there's not many people down here, I'll kill 20, but there's a event going on, I'm going to go up there, right? Because ISIS is a little different. ISIS just wants mass casualty. So it's going to be interesting how it works with terrorists that came from different backgrounds and when they get choice.
So some of these terrorist organizations are looking for very strategic stuff like U.S. Capitol, you know, basically U.S. governmental infrastructure and in elites. And then on the other hand, you have what I'm used to, Sam, when we were over there, they just look for the easiest, the easiest, biggest target because they want to kill the most amount of people in the quickest amount of time and get the most press out of it.
Yep.
And so that would lead me to believe universities, churches, stadiums,
farmers markets, those type of things.
How many people, how many fighters do you think we can expect in each attack?
Well, the 1,000 is all of them. So we're calling it's an Al-Qaeda planned attack, but within those 1,000 terrorists, some of them are ISIS because they want ISIS to be blamed.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we're gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Till next time.